Okay, we're back working on this case here. Fred had to go, so we're doing tripod shots now. Okay, so I'm going to work on the getting this crank out of here, and then I got to put the get this gear fit up, and I got to replace that key there still. So that's what we're going to work on right now. So far we haven't broken my new bolt yet. So far it's holding up. That's a good sign. Found a few more bolts here we can use for the bolt the case together with once I put the sealer on it. Bolt I missed. Oh. Yeah, some dumbass didn't pull the screws off the bottom. It's hard to get good help these days. We'll blame it on Fred, he left early. Alright, that feels a lot easier already. There we go. Okay, now there might be too much clearance in the crankshaft maybe. I'm not sure why they bolted together like that. I'm sure there's a good excuse for it. Okay, there's the bearing. Looks like the old bear erases got put back into it. And exactly like I thought, they left out the washer that you need. So, as being this one right here, it's not on that crankshaft. So, that's not not very good when you leave that out. Okay. I'm going to file down this burrs here on the pinion shaft where the keyway is all screwed up. Not sure where the high spot is, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it with a felt tip pen. Rub across it. Whoop, hey, it went on. Looks like it's right there. And right there. A little bit easier now. Alright. tools here. I need some Loctite and a socket. I'm going to hunt down a key a little bit too. I'm going to take this snap ring off of here so I can get the bearing off so I can true the crank. All kinds of little things to do. Wonderful. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. We're on the my other workbench now. The one I normally work on. Okay, I got the gear, I cleaned it up. I went ahead and ground a 45-degree chamfer right here on the one tooth for timing it so you can see it. So even though you got the nut up here on that, you'll still be able to see it. There's no lock tabs, so I just use Loctite on this. I'm going to Loctite all this together too. And in order to true it, I have to have the bearing off, so I got to get that out of the way. Okay, so that pops off. I have to work around that so I can slide it out just enough to get my indicator up in there. Okay, now let's see, I got my new key here. This is a big twin key, but it looks like the same key for a Sportster, so hopefully. Seems to go relatively easily. So I use sleeve retainer Loctite on everything here. There it goes. That way it doesn't spin off as easy. Okay. That didn't work very well. There it goes. Put a good layer of Loctite on the shaft here. There it goes. Okay, use red Loctite on the nut. On the outer nut. Put sleeve retainer on that, it'll be really hard to get off, so I want to use red on that. On the earlier bikes there's a lock tab here. I don't know about 5-speed bikes, but if you use Loctite you don't really need to use lock tabs. And of course you got to tighten them down too, that always helps. Be tight enough. Okay, everything's still going to be on there. Now make sure you got your clip and your bearing there. Well, it slides off the gear, so you got full access to your shaft for truing. So that's good. Okay, so now this is ready to go back on the truing stand and see if it's true. So we'll flip this off and we'll go back to over the truing stand. Alright, we're back on our truing stand. So like I said, this was dead straight before, now it's, you can see the pointer over here is walking around, so there you go. So that's why you always put these on before you true your crank, because it never goes back the same. Alright, so let's go see where we're at here. Tight there. This one is here. So it appears they're both tight in the same spot, or big. So we have to go on the other side and spread it over here. So that didn't appear to do too much there. Still high in that same spot. I think that's where I just did it. Dew everywhere. Do it again. Still high in the same spot. Go ahead and beat on it this time. Yeah, that made a difference. Spreading wasn't helping. Had to move the shaft itself. That made a nice difference. So the needle over here is barely moving. This one here has got a little bit to it. Appears to be high right there. This one's high dead center on the bottom. Pretty much the same area. It moved pretty easy. Too much. Same spot. Same spot again. Too much. Yep. There we go. Alright, so you can see how the needle's barely moving. The camera. So you can see it right here, it's barely doing anything. And the other one's over there. It's right over here, so you can see it's barely moving too. So pretty damn true. That's what you want, really nice and true. Okay, now you go put our assembly stand so we can put it into the case. So we'll be back. Okay, we're back onto this. So I got this in my holding fixture in the vise. It comes off a couple pins right here. Gauge of the flywheel. So that'll hold the flywheel, so we can go ahead and screw the top up on here. And then we'll be back. Okay, back at it again. Okay, here is the washer. You gotta make sure you do not leave it out, which they did. This is the old one, so hopefully it's the right one, but we'll be checking that too. Okay, the rods, you gotta make sure that they go where you're supposed to be, which is in the hole here. Okay, I gotta put a little assembly lube on here. Don't want to put anything together dry, obviously. Okay. Actually, I didn't scrape this case off. I'm going to go ahead and scrape this case off here. I got to get this cleaned up. So we're going to flip over to here. So I use a scraper here. Two different ones I use. This is a carbide tipped one. This is really good for getting every little detail off the down to the bare surface. This one here works good for scraping gaskets off because it gets underneath the gasket like a knife and brings it up. This one here doesn't get under it, it pushes it. So this gets the gasket off and this will push it clean. So you got two different things that work. So I need to get this sealer out of the way here real quick. I'm going to do it now, then after I get the clean crank in there. He said he used Harley Davidson sealer on this stuff. Doesn't impress me very much. That's probably why I don't use it. Get all the little holes cleaned out with a pocket knife. You don't want this stuff going inside your motor, so get it all out. At least most of it out anyway. oil's cleared. In case mine feels a little rough, so I'm going to hit it with a file. So I'll use a fine file here. I don't know what you can see, but so this knocks down any grit or any surfaces on the case. So, burrs. Okay. My bench nice and clean now. I blow the case off. All right. So now we got this here more or less cleaned up. So I filed all these areas, scraped it all down to bare metal, got all that out. Got most of the crap out of the holes there was in there. So make sure your oil's clean. So got a clean finger, no grit. That's a plus. Okay, now go ahead and put our case up here. Make sure your washer's still sitting here. It is. So always triple check that thing to make sure it's good. You want to make sure your rods are in the center hole over here where they belong. Maybe you can find the bearing. So this is our Timken bearing here. It goes next. I need my installation tool. So this threads on the end of the crank. I got a thrust bearing in here so it works better. And then you screw this down with on the threaded shank here. So it pulls it together, it does not push it. If you push on the crank, you'll knock it out of the tree. True. If you pull it together, you don't do any damage. So first you put on the crankshaft, and then you start screwing it down. The Harley shops, they like to heat them up with a hot air gun and then beat them out of the socket or something, but that is not how you're supposed to put the bearings together. You can knock the crank out of true. Okay, put a little torque on that. Now you feel how much clearance you got. See how much clearance we got? We have a lot. You can hear it too. So that Timken bearing is well used. It needs a smaller spacer in there to make the bearing tighter. So now we gotta go take it and put in the press, knock it back out, change out that spacer. Jeez, there, that's tight. I wonder if I bottomed out or something. That is so close to being bottomed out. I think I might be bottomed out. Might not have my tool all the way down. So it appears they made these shafts a little bit longer up here, and now this tool doesn't fit correctly. So what's happening is I think I'm bottoming out inside, way down in there. So that means I'm going to have to come in there and drill that hole deeper to get more room in there at some point. But not today. I remember I saw a crank spacer floating around here somewhere. I have this piece right here to use. So we're going to have to modify my tool for these late model bikes. Again, more things to modify. Okay, that's in there. Yep, got a little more tightness that time.
Hey, what's going on in here?
I'm making filming, that's what I'm doing. Okay, now the case is tight.
Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying.
Yeah, why don't you shut up and let me finish here. Okay, so now the case has just a little clearance like it's supposed to have, so now we're good.
Tatro.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Oh shit, you're on camera.
Oh, well, you're on camera now.
Tatro doing his motherfucking YouTube.
So, anyway, now this case is the bearing fits, so now I'm going to clean up the other side and put together. We'll be back. Alright, enough interruptions. Back to work. Okay, here's my 2 scrapers. We're going to get this other case done. We got the crank over here and here. You can see how much clearance is in the bearing over here, which is a nice clearance for hot roddy work. So that's good. So it's broken in, that's good clearance there. But I'm going to have to modify my tool, so I don't have to have that problem for the next one I do. Okay, I want to get all this gasket sealer crap off of here. Can't have any of that in the case parting lip here. And you got to blow it off to get it all out of the motor, because you don't want it in the motor. This Harley sealer is part silicone and part something else. It's definitely different than the 3 bonds. I don't want to use it because it doesn't break up like the 3 bond breaks up inside the motor, so it'll go out through the oil system and get into the filter and get out of the motor, whereas this stuff here, it'll stay in the motor, plug things up, which we don't want. Make sure you get all the holes here as much as you can too. All right. And knock off any burrs. Okay, blow it all off. And clean off the workbench. That's kind of important too. Gonna do a mock up here. Get all those baffles to go up underneath there where they're in the way. Okay, get this one right together there. Get my special bolt here. Put it right at the top center there. Okay, all these other bolts going now. I need to make sure I got all my bolts so I can go ahead and tighten the case up with some heat in there. These here with the shoulders on them, I think, are the transmission bolts. I'm thinking that's what they are anyway. Looks like there's enough to do the job. Looks like we got one more we need. Well, that's probably a short one there. Yep, that's a short one. Okay, so I got all the bolts there. I'm going to have to put a nut or something under here so I can tighten against it. Okay, these here were brake bolts down there. Okay, looks like I got all the hardware I need, so that's good. Okay. Now I want to see if these cylinders are going to fit. Which I already know they're going to be a problem. I don't know why they put all these bolts up on here. Guess so they wouldn't lose them, maybe. Alright, they're out of the way. Okay, let's turn this over and see if it turns. Appears to work pretty good. We look down here in the crankshaft. You want to make sure it's not wobbling around. So looks like it's going pretty true. Make sure the gear is spinning true also. If it's wobbling around, it's bad. So now we gotta get the oil pump on here and make sure it works for that new gear. I assume this is the one we're going to be using. Okay, you can hear the teeth, clearance in the teeth. And go ahead and spin it around just to make sure there's no drag on it. Go both directions. Okay, so the oil pump works. So I don't have to worry about that. They can put that in themselves. So that's checked. So now we know it's going to work. You got to cover all your bases on these motors before you start putting them together for real. And we're talking about putting some new lifters in here. So get the new lifters and see if they work. Wonderful. Well, I don't see the new lifters right now, so I'll have to dig them up later. Alright, so we'll have to check those later. Let's see, we need to do the check our cylinders now. So, first thing I do is see how much room we got here. It's close. We'll see if it fits. Okay, so here's our big bore cylinders. They're tissue paper thin. So So this one here is the rear one. It's marked rear on it. The only problem is this is the valve side, push rod side, and this is the center of the V right here for where the cylinder goes. That makes this a front. It's marked rear. The front one, center of the V, is in the front of the cylinder, which is the rear cylinder. So you can't always go by what people mark stuff, because obviously he knew what the hell he was doing. So this is rear, and this one here is front. So they'll have to figure that all by themselves. Whoop. Now this cylinder here, you can see a little bit of a rub mark right here. That's in the back of the case. Back here where your parting lip area is. So you got to make sure there's no burr right here on the very top, because that'll leave that little mark right there. Now over here in the V where the center bolt is, see how there's no mark on this area right here? So this one here has never been hit in the stud. So this one had clearance before. Now I'm going to wind up probably having to put a little flat spot right here though. These cylinders are so damn thin though because they got this big bore on them. There's not a lot of meat left. So these are like 60 over 3 13/16. They're like 3 7/8 of an inch. And they never made them cylinders that big because it's too damn thin for these motors. So somebody made them anyway. So this is the other cylinder. So you look on the front here and it looks good, no mark. You go over here and there's a big gouge in this cylinder. You can see where somebody jammed it across that stud before. And that's right where we're going to have to put the little flat spot too. So we're going to have to flat spot that, and it appears to be we're going to need that almost a ½ inch down. This is a ½ inch thick, and the stud's right about here where my thumb is. So anything from here down needs to be cut away. So you lay it up here, see where that is, and you notice it's just below where that mark is where we're talking. So I'm going to have to cut it from here up. So I can use a file on that, or I can use a grinder, but it has to be cut away. Now what I got to do is I got to make sure that that is where it actually hits and not more in the center. The first thing I do is get the piston out of the way. So push it down a little bit. Usually what I do is I take a little felt tip, put a little mark on it, and that'll show me where the contact's going to be. Rod out of the way. So we got a whole nother problem now. Cylinders won't go in the hole because the damn hole is too small. Because they didn't bore the case out big enough. So that's another problem. So the problem you're going to have with this motor is when you go to put cylinders in, they won't go in. They also won't come out. So we got two options. You can either leave it alone, loosen up the case bolts, get the damn thing all the way down, and then pinch the cylinder in there, which is going to shrink your bore down and make the piston clearance less, which could be a problem, depending on how tight the pistons are in there. It could also break the cylinder off because if it's trying to flex and the case won't let it flex, it'll snap it off right at the edge because it's usually a sharp edge up in there. Or we have to take the case and bore it out to a bigger size, which means you got to take the case over back apart, get the crank out, pull the studs out, put in the vertical mill, open these things up about 5 thou to maybe 10 thou, depending on how tight they are. and then put it back together all again. That's how it should be done. So I'm going to have to see what the customer wants to do. There's already more money he wants to spend on this thing already. So first thing I do is loosen it up and see if this will take care of the problem initially. So say you loosen it up and the cylinder goes down now a little bit. And you go down about that far and then it hits the stud. So I got a good 1/4 inch more clearance I need to cut in that thing. And you can see the mark right there where it left the mark, which is more or less on center like it's supposed to be, not off center like they had the broken bolt before. So it's where it should be, not where it actually was cut before. So that's why you're going to mark it and check it. So now we know exactly where we need to cut. So now we need to take a little bit of the file and knock it down. You can also do it in the middle if you want to. So this one here I'm just going to give a quickie job. Alright, get the crap off of there, wipe out the cylinder where the grit went in there. Okay, we take it and remark it. And put on back up on here again. And now we're about 1/8 inch from the surface now. More interruptions. Hello. Yep. Not really. Just broken ones, or ones that are welded up and need to be machined. Need machining. I have kits, I got covers, I got all the gear separate, whatever you need. Complete kicker kit, probably in 170 area would be a guess. I think I still got one kit left. If not, I have to order one up. I'd have to look it up though. I'll be gone tomorrow, so catch me Saturday. Okay, bye. Okay, so now we got a mark. You see where it's hitting right up here, up high, so I'm going to go knock it up higher. Take off some more of the file. Take it down a little bit more. I'm not sure why it's hitting way up there, but something left that mark, so it doesn't matter what the reason is. If you got a mark, it needs to go away. Now, this motor has been a problem for the shop working on it, and I can see why, because everything you touch is made wrong, or machined wrong, or marked wrong. And I know they don't have the experience to do these really big hot rod motors like this, so that makes it double hard for them. Even less height than it did before. Yeah, there's no way we're hitting on that stud, because that stud is way to hell below where it is. That's probably right where the dowel pin is. That's where we're hitting hard now. Extra off. Remark it. Uh-oh. Oh. See, that's a problem. The stud's loose, so I can't really check where the stud's at. Didn't think about that. I'm not even hitting the stud because the stud's loose. It's not even hitting on the stud yet. This is hitting on this dowel. It's not even hitting flat or anything. It's almost like it's bottoming out on the dowel pin. It's rocking on it. There's other issues. And the bolt's loose, so it ain't the bolt. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and torque the bolt down a little bit. See if it leaves me a mark. Okay, I got me a 1.5 feeler gauge. I'm going to stick that up between the stud here in the cylinder. See if there's a gap. If we have a gap, we're golden. And we have a big gap in there, so we are not anywhere near hitting on that. Okay, so all our problems is the case fitment is bad. So it needs to be all remachined. So we know everything I've done so far is clearance. So I have lots of clearance in there now. Okay, so now I go and pull that out. Definitely on there. It's loose. You can see all the beat marks down here. I was wondering why these are all bent over like that. It's because somebody was beating out with a big hammer to get the damn thing off the case, because they didn't know about the other problems. So right in here we can see all kinds of nice shiny marks right there in the right in that edge right there. See right in here, there is a radius on the cylinder right there. And the case has a pretty sharp edge. So our problem is right now is we're in this radius, not letting the cylinder go down evenly. So the case needs to have a chamfer cut into it. And the dowel pin should be close. Where's the dowel pin at? The dowel pin's this hole here. And it looks to me like this dowel pin hole right here is probably not quite deep enough for how tall that dowel pin's sticking out of the case over there. So this thing's sticking way out of the case, and that hole in that cylinder is not this high. So this thing's sticking out 1/4 inch. We'll take a measuring device, measure it. It's right at 1/4 inch, so it's right there at the ragged edge of clearing. Now whether it's clearing or not I'm not sure, but it's right there. So there's no real extra clearance. So this dowel needs to go in the case deeper, or needs to be shortened up about a 32nd. And the cases also need to be bored out bigger so these things can come on and off like they're supposed to. Because having to loosen this all up and put it back out is not the way you do your motor. That's going to require another couple more hours of work at least, which I'm sure the customer will be really happy about. See, that's why you get paid good money to do these jobs correctly the first time. So you have to come back and redo these things over and over and over. Now this one here, I got a pretty good idea where it's going to hit because I just did the other cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this one down. Okay, it's good for the initial hit. Wipe the grit off. I didn't get the piston out of the way, so do that now. There it goes. A lot of grit on my table now. I'm going to check this one. That one went down better. And it looks like that one's sitting flat. It's not rocking like the other one was. Now I'll bolt one in here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Take our feeler gauge and check it. Got clearance on one side but not the other. So that means we're pretty close. Now the reason you shock it like that to shove it, because it breaks the bond loose that's holding it. Instead of trying to pull up constantly with it, you shock it and it'll pop it free. Okay, so now we're hitting right here. You can even see the mark right there, a little shiny spot. That's where we're hitting right now. Okay. Try it again. Put a little mark on there so I can see better. Okay. Drop down like it did before. Looks like it's down all the way though. It's not all the way down though. Looks a little better. Okay, check the feeler gauge again. Definitely tighter on the right side than the left side, but there's clearance in there now. Okay, so that is in there pretty good. So we know that's got clearance. So that part of the job is done. Okay. Now we got to deal with all the other problems. There's quite a few. Now it doesn't matter what kind of motor it is, if you're doing a stroker motor and a big bore motor, all of this stuff has to be checked like this. So next thing we got to check is cylinder clearance and piston to piston clearance. Everything on this motor has been done wrong, so we need to check that too. Apply a piece of sealer. All right. What's left? Yep. That one's left.
Yo.
Yo, what?
Oh.
Filming.
Oh.
Building a motor here to go against you. Maybe about 5 more minutes here. We're going to check our the piston clearance and cylinder clearance. Someone back east put these pistons in here, and a local shop couldn't figure out how to put the motor together correctly. So.
Where's the knucklehead?
Close, and Evo Sportster.
Oh.
Probably about 90 inches or something. 87 to 90 inches. Stock crank, so whatever it makes it. I'll keep up with your bike, I bet.
Yeah, right. That thing is fucking crazy.
This will. Sportster, big motor, lightweight. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Piss off a lot of big bikes real quick. They're good for doing that.
Where's Lorenzo been by here?
He's out there making noise in the driveway, I hear him. Sounds like he just left. Okay, this
Oh
is...
yeah, it is in
Well, still over there.
She's coming home. I'm gonna go back there real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. This is not going in here for some reason. Alright, well we know it fits, so that means it's me. Burnout's out in the alley. Yeah. There it goes. Alright, there's one in. Two. Yeah. It's glued in there. All right. Alright, where's that camera at? Whoa. Trying to do 3 things at once. That's always fun. Okay. So what we're checking right now is cylinder clearance right here, which appears to be good. The next thing is you got that piston down there. You want to make sure the piston doesn't hit the other piston. Oops, so see that clearance down in there. So you want to make sure you got at least a 1/16 of an inch clearance. So it looks like it's got clearance too. And the last thing you want to do is make sure it doesn't come on and hit the flywheel down here. Now this is not a stroker motor, and these are stroker pistons, so see we got an acre of clearance. The piston's way up inside the bore in there. So we got a lot of clearance there. So At least this part of the job is good. Alright, so these are all things you have to check. The other thing you want to make sure that the piston doesn't stick out the top of the hole too far. So you put the crank pin at top dead center, and you look at your over here your piston top. Make sure the cylinder is about down on the bore where it belongs. And you can see it's down below the deck a little bit, so it's got clearance in there. So that looks like it's good too. Alright, so all of that looks like it's alright. But the problem is the case holes are too small, so they need to be opened up. So I'm going to see what the customer wants to do. Either fix it right, or we're going to just let them tighten the case up and do all the sealer, and they can deal with it. So, but at this point, my clearances are all checked. It all works. We don't know if the cams are good yet, but we know all this stuff is good. So, alright, so I'll go give them a call, see what's going to happen from here. So that's where we're at for now.